Hi there, I hope you have a lovely day. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Jenna. So today I have my yearly makeup empties, or generally, makeup empties here for you. So what did I finish in 2024? Um, I think it's a lot, volume wise, in a sense, like, because there's some big packaging going out of my collection, but on the other hand, I still have too much makeup, lying around in front of me, but in the back, etc., etc. So I need to get going and finish more, actually. So the pressure is on, the heat is on. So let's start with some bigger items. Also, there you will see some declutter stuff, and yeah, we will see. I will show you what I finished so far. So Aqua Prime, or what is it, Revolution Pro Prime Aqua Priming Base. It's like a liquid primer. You just spray it on before you apply your foundation, after your moisturizer, and so on. So it was good because it was giving my makeup, actually, or the foundation, a little bit of a boost. I didn't feel like it was sticky or difficult to apply. It was a little bit, the brush felt more moist, so to say, not and it was easier to apply. So I liked it, but it has been in my collection, I think, for 6 or 7 years. I think I bought it in 2015, 16, something like that. So yeah, it has been quite some time. So then another thing that has been in my collection for quite some time is this Kat Von D Locket Featherweight Primer Base. So I have also the foundation, which actually oxidized in the meantime. I need to get also that done, because it's quite too dark for me. And yeah, it's a Alice pump thingy. I'm not sure if I could take it apart and you reuse this bottle. Not sure about it, but there nothing comes out anymore. It was just a white not liquid but white primer. So and it was okay. So that is done now. Then I had some sample sized primers that I got from the cosmetics company store from Estee Lauder. These were the Tom Ford illuminating primer base, so 5 ml. And you know how expensive here Mr. Tom Ford's products are. So you could buy 5 of the small samples like that for 12 euros, including a little pouch and so on. So I did make use of it whenever I was there. I bought those because I had in total, I think, 3 or 4 of these, if I'm not mistaken. So I used it. It's a liquid, how can I say, it's a highlighting primer, so there are some shiny particles in it, but it's not in your face. It's not like that, for example. It's similar to, actually, to the NYX, the illuminating primer. Also a little bit of a pearly sheen, but once you apply your foundation on top of it, I didn't feel like that my foundation was really, how to say, glowing or something like that. It doesn't give you that kind of glowing effect if you're expecting that. So then MAC Prep and Prime Illuminating or Natural Radiance, it's a small sample size, Radiant Yellow, done. MAC products, I think they are good. Not all of them, okay. But for working makeup artists, I think MAC is still a go-to product line or makeup line that they can use in their kits. I also have some things in my makeup kit. So same with these little guys here, the strobe creams, similar to the NYX, with the color and so on. So yeah, also was okay with that one. This little guy here, this is very cute packaging from Illamasqua, and this is the Hydrating Veil Prime. So you have this little guy. I have several of these. So cute. So it's like a jelly kind of thing, it's kind of wobbles around and so on, but once you apply it, it is nice. It has a little bit of a scent now. I've not opened it for quite some time, but it has a very nice scent to it, like a floral creamy scent, cream type of scent. So yeah, a declutter of mine will be this little guy here. This is from The Ordinary. This is the high spreadability fluid primer. I had this just too long in my collection, and it kind of, I don't know if you can see it, it kind of solidified in that sense. so there's no way I can get anything out of the packaging, even though there is still some bit. And it's also like, how can I say, bubbling up. So it's not bubbling up, it's like balling up. So it's not something that I would, you know, try to keep. If you have it in your collection, check on the consistency and so on. And if it's, how can I say, if it's still on the good liquidy side, try to use it up as quickly as possible. That's what I would say. Now let's go to the next. Yeah, this was also another sample here. Instant Smooth Perfecting Touch from Clarins. Was okay, was an okay sample, so I cannot say anything about it, you know, because I used it up long time ago. Let me see. Then let's go with the big things here. I finished up some foundations and some tinted moisturizers. So one of the foundations that I finished up actually, and I reused the bottle, was the Prolong Wear SPF 10 foundation. So, and I put always other foundations into it, and maybe you can see there is still on the side some foundation, but I will not get or cannot get it out because of the how the bottle is shaped. So I might reuse this bottle again if I want to mix some foundation or franken them. Then I finished up this little guy here. This is a Pretty Fresh hyaluronic acid tinted moisturizer. A little bit too dark for me actually. Once I was pale, you know. So yeah, not a big fan of it. I would not repurchase it. Colourpop. So yeah, that's done. Estee Lauder. This is a double wear stay in place makeup with SPF 10. So, and the shade was Tawny. I think it's kind of, you know, because I got I never, let's say, I never developed a 10 this year because I was always traveling, or I was not traveling to the right countries and really taking a holiday, you know, vacation in that sense. I never developed a 10, so this was dark. I mean, especially when I try to or used it up now in winter time or closer in autumn and so on, I noticed it was too dark for me. So, and I didn't have, you know, any kind of lighter foundation to mix it up. So maybe in summer it's a good shade again, or I need to see, for example, what would be the better shade for me now. So this, because I don't know if you can see it, but it's dark for me, too dark a little. Yeah, so now I will keep, of course, the pump. So because the pump is usually sold separately, it costs like 4 or 5 euros. So I want to keep that pump. Now, let me throw away a little bit of a plastic here, because, or just put it away, so that I can make some more space to show you things. Okay, I will just keep that bottle. So these bottles I will keep. Now, okay, some other foundations that I have finished are these little guys. These were actually the smoothing concealers from Revlon, or Rimmel London, sorry, Rimmel London Renew and Lift Classic Beige and Natural Beige. I bought them long time ago, I think in 2015, 2016 from eBay, you know, back in the day when I started to, or restarted again to use makeup. And they were for a long time in my collection. I was like, okay, let's get those out of my collection. That's why I was mixing them up. So they are done. Do I consider them as concealers or as foundation? I use them mostly as foundations. So I would consider them as foundations that I have finished. Yeah. So then let's see. What else do I have? Let's continue with the face, and I will go to the eye products a little bit later. Okay, now other foundations that I have finished, or concealers that I have finished, were actually these little guys here. I don't know if you can see them. The Huda Beauty Faux Filter concealers, you know, the samples that you get when you buy something from Huda. I had several of these, and I use them up. I think most of the time I use them either as an eyeshadow base as well as a bronzer for the darker ones, a darker shades, as and so on. So I liked it, but I would love to try actually, or yeah, if I have the chance, if I finish one day many makeup products, I might go out and buy one of these faux filters, but yeah, let's see when the time will come. So another thing was here this you know, sample card with the different foundations. You know, again, I use some of the foundations as a kind of eyeshadow base, bronzers, and so on. So I think I have one of the I have this foundation in my collection. I need to use it, of course, but I'm not sure if I have the right shade or not at this moment. So the same for this little guy here. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Hollywood Flawless Filter for a Superstar Youth Glow. I had two of these. I used them, yeah, also as a bronzer, as an eyeshadow base, and so on. So whenever I could, I used them up. So these were okay. What else? So these are all trash, plastic trash that I need to get rid of. Okay, powders. Okay, two bronzers that I have finished that I'm quite happy about, and they were really big ones. Are these little guys here. This is my MAC mattifying bronze. This is from, I was in Guam 2011, if I'm not mistaken, or 2011, something like that, or 2012. So I bought them there at the MAC store. So you imagine, yeah, and it took, and I started with my panning channel, so, or with this channel now in 2021. And it took me quite some time actually to finish this little guy up, and so on. So I'll keep the, what is it, the packaging. Honest question, are you still keeping your packaging for MAC or not? I'm still hoping that there is a back to MAC program coming around. You know, I don't want to throw those bottles away and so on like that. So I'm still keeping mine. I don't know if it's, you know, in vain or not, or but I'm still doing it. So yeah, another bronzer is this baked bronzer that was domed here. This was from Catrice, the Sun Lover Glow bronzer. So it was a shimmering bronzer in Sunkissed Bronze, the shade name, and you can see it was, how many grams was it here? 8 grams. 8 grams done. So I'm quite happy about it, and yeah, just so enjoy. That's done. Good bronzer, actually. I loved it, you know, to have a shimmering bronzer. So I was quite legitimately using it, and after a while it was, how can I say, I felt like it was quickly going, you know, so it was not like that it was kind of drying or whatever, or, you know, just harder to pick up. So after a while it felt very, very nice to get rid of it, let's say. So another thing, okay, I should not forget about this little guy here. So yeah, L'Oreal Infallible Sculpt bronzer or contouring palette. So it's a highlight and contour shade in it. So the packaging broke in the meantime as well. So yeah, I used the bronzer. I mean, I used this contour shade as a bronzer. Honestly, it was not gray enough for me, for my liking. So you can see maybe there is a little bit of a warm tone to it. So, you know, some bronzer, some contouring shades have more reddish tones, brownish tones to it. Not, they are not too cool, you know, so not grayish enough. So, and you can still use them as a bronzer. So I did use this as a bronzer actually. And the highlighting shade, this is a powdered cream to powder formulation. So I was using this little guy here, for example, under my eyes as a kind of concealer, as well as, you know, on my eyes as eyeshadow base, because it was turning anyway into powder, and I have oily eyelids, or generally you see I have a oily complexion. So I thought that's how I can use it, and I used it, and it was also very old, I think from 2016 or 2017. I got it from a colleague back in the day in England. So yeah, and yeah, you see it's 2024, so almost 7 years ago I got it. It's done. So I'm quite happy about it. And then, so this was another concealer that was in my collection, the Lord & Berry Beige Concealer. It's a stick. I don't know if I can, yeah, I can still get it out. I actually kind of sharpen it, and then I just scooped out whatever was in the in this tube, and I put it here inside this one, and then I was using it on my eyelids as a kind of eyeshadow base. So yeah, but quite happy it's done, you know. So that goes into the trash. Another thing that I need to declutter is because of a high age. And that set is from my first makeup gig as the London Bridal Fashion Show. This palette here, this is actually from Makeup Atelier Paris, and this is a strobe color palette, and it's from, it says here nude, you know, so it has wonderful nude colors, but it's because of the oils inside, it starts to smell. So, and I think I would just, how can I say, get rid of the shades. Maybe they are still, I don't know if you can see it or not, it's still, how can I say, working, but it's smelly. You cannot apply it on yourself. It's just how can I say, it's, yeah, it's a pity that it kind of went bad, but of course, you know, if you don't use it for a long time, everything turns bad. So, but this one, it hurts me a little bit that I have to get rid of it. So I will maybe just scoop out whatever is in the pans and throw it away, and then you reuse the whole palette, you know, just to have something compact on my table and so on. So then the next 3 things are actually the last things for the face, and this is the iconic London Prep Set Glow Spray. So it's like a prepping spray, primer spray or setting spray, and it also gives you glows, you know, because you can see there is a lot of reddish glitter, but once you apply it, you don't see it actually. You know, if you're, let's say, of a fairer complexion and you think, oh yeah, I will have reddish, you know, tones on my face and so on, it's not like that. It sprays out equally. The pump is very good, so the spritzer is very good, and it looks nice, you know. So would I repurchase it? Not really, but you can use the bottle, you know, and that's what I will do actually, and then fill it up again with some other sprays or whatsoever and use it. Yeah, the Essence Fix and Last 18 hours makeup fixing spray. Okay, for the price is good, you know, but it's unfortunately just what is it, 50 ml, so you run out of it very, very quickly. So yeah, you might need to be aware of it, you know. You need to repurchase it. They don't have it in a bigger bottle, so it might be better than to buy, for example, a bigger bottle of Makeup Revolution, for example, you know. So this is like a 100 ml bottle and so on. So, and it's also cheaper in that sense, comparable functions or comparable performance, let's say. Yeah, here's the same question. Do you keep your MAC products empties or not? I keep them. MAC Fix Plus, I have several of those bottles, you know. Yeah, I mean, I can go through all of them. They are not technically really a fixing spray or a setting spray, but they give a nice touch or finishing touch to your makeup, let's say, but they are not in technically for makeup artists really fixing or setting spray in that sense, you know. So yeah, I keep that bottle. Let's go to the eye products. I have left out actually all the eyeshadows which are still in the palettes or whatsoever of completed eyeshadows. So because I have not kept really track of it, it would be, how to say, take me ages and days and so on to really go through it. We don't have time for it. I don't have the time for it. So that's why apologies if you know, I have some loose, you know, single eyeshadow pans here that I have really completed and that I can account for, but for the others, you know, in my, let's say here, if you have seen my what is it, the finale for my pan that palette, you will see actually I showed you already this little guy here that I have you know, hit or completed 1, 2, 3 pans, but then I had repressed here into 2 hours, and here is just like, how can I say, still some palettes or some pans untouched. So I have not counted those through, you know. As I said, I had a big break during the year and I lost track and so on about the products that I have finished, that I had in the projects, and I could not deliver updates on a regular basis. So that's why apologies if you if you want to still see those, I cannot deliver. Yeah, but let's get maybe started. So I had this little this big guy here. This was the yellow shade that I had panned or, you know, taken out, repressed from the Blossom palette from Blush Tribe. That's one. I took out, and I had I think one or two yellows in. One was a paler one was a regular sun color yellow. I repressed them with some other yellow shades, and then I used them. So that one is done. The actual pan of the yellow, that's one of those, or two actually, if I'm not mistaken. If I don't, yeah. So these are the two out of the blush stripe palette, you know. So these are the yellows, and this is a repressed pan that I use for the repressing. Another eyeshadow that I finished, I think this was a neutral eyeshadow from my BYOP palette. Not sure where this one came from, but it's done. So yeah, I will not keep, I think, because they are not magnetized, I will just throw these out, as well as this one I will throw out. I will see if this one is magnetized or not. So if it's magnetized, I will keep it. If it's not, I will just throw it out, because there's no point. Let's see. No, it's not magnetized. So this one is also not magnetized, so this one goes into the trash. I know for sure, for example, these little guys here in this palette are magnetized, so that's why it's worth keeping those. And I have some more spare, you know, empty pans that I can use for repressing. Okay, and this was previously, I think a blush or a bronzer pan, but oh no, a blush. I can see in the back it's pink, so it was a blush. Not sure where it came from, if I counted it already as an empty previously or not. So yeah, there you go. Now another thing that let's see, eyeshadow base. So this one little guy here from Revolution, this is the Revolution Focus and Fix Eye Primer. I had it for so many years in my collection. Actually, I bought it in a Christmas set. You know, they had several Christmas sets on a sale. You know, back in the day, they were, or they are still doing it, that they are giving you, let's say, sales and so on. So I had this little guy, and yeah, so I was using that one, for example, and yeah, I'm just throwing out this one. Yeah, so that one is done. What else do I have here? Okay, so then two eyeliners. This one I finished long time ago, actually, in the Magical Pans project pan. I finished this one, but I had always free products in. I wanted to finish two and then actually give an update. So yeah, again, it took me quite some time to do updates, but this one is done, as well as this one, this matte Maybelline Lasting Drama eyeliner in matte. Liked, actually, you know, does it do something? You see how fine the line is actually. Once it's very nice to use actually, but again, I had it for a long time and I used it up. So other two eyeliners that I have are from Kiko Milano. These are the little guys with the smudger end on one side and so on. I think and they don't have names or so. These have only just numbers, but this was like a gold yellow shade, like a pale gold shade that I used. Actually, I love this, and I have so many of these Kiko Milano. So we advise, once they dry out, they actually, it kind of shrinks inside the tube, inside this wooden tube thingy. So you need to always resharpen it and then press it back into it so that it doesn't dry down further and so on. So that's why I made a lot of good progress with these little guys, because I was using them so, how can I say, quickly up, because I was repressing, using them, repressing into the tube. So it's kind of, how can I say, yeah, I made good progress with them, with these. I have still a lot, so I need to get going and get those out of my collection as well. So last thing, or not last thing actually, is this little guy here. These are the Benefit, they are real mascara, the only mascara that I started to use afterwards. It's done, you know, I'm happy about it, because it's watery in the beginning, it's smudging everywhere because it's still too wet, too moist. But once it kind of dries down, or you know, it kind of gets stickier inside the tube, it is better to apply and so on, it gets, you know, it gets nicer, and I like this actually drier version of it. So, and the brush actually, it doesn't, although mascara won't, doesn't look so special, but I love how it's shaped, and it's yeah, I have too many mascaras, so I will not repurchase this one. I think I also got another one as a present, so I will not repurchase this one. And then two of these guys from Makeup Revolution, the Eye Glisten in Yours Truly as well as Dreamland. I had them for so many years in my collection. I think since 2020 or even earlier I had them in my collection, and they are kind of drying down. The colors are nice, but you need to refresh them if you want to use them. And yeah, I think I have another one. Maybe I'm still giving another one the chance to, you know, to get used. But would I repurchase them? Not really, because the unfortunate thing is you have always a glitter side. If you are not really big on or keen on glitters, I mean, except you are using them on your fingers, fingernails and so on, it's maybe okay to have that. But I liked actually the other side where you have only the eyeshadow cream. I know, I'm not sure if they have already, how can I say, just this version, so to say, just, you know, liquid eyeshadow in that sense, but I would definitely recommend just to get the liquid eyeshadow, you know. And if they dry down, they dry down. They are not expensive, or they are always on sale. So I bought those here, these two little guys, also on sale. So does it hurt now? Of course, you know, it's wasted money in that sense, because I didn't get the use. I just let myself, you know, wait until I use them. But yeah, if you have them in your collection, start using them, get them out of it. Another thing that I want to actually declutter is this little guy here. This is a brush from Real Techniques, the fine liner brush. So I don't know if you can see it, it's a little bit flimsy, you know. So you have to be, how can I say, you have to really coat this one in with eyeliner to really apply it. And you know, sometimes it's better actually to get brushes. If you want to have nice eyeliner application, get brushes from the art store. So those ones are thin enough and also you know, sharp enough, let's say, you know, the ending is so that you can apply a really crisp line. So this one, it's, you know, a little bit flimsy. If you are not experienced enough, you don't want to bother with this one. I know that a lot of brush companies, they used, or they have these kind of in sale or in their collections and so on. So if you are, how can I say, challenged a little bit motorically, you know, that you cannot, how can I say, really do a fine crisp line in the beginning maybe, and you need a lot of cleanup, this is good for practicing. But after a while, you know, they are better, just honestly speaking, better brushes in the art store for the makeup eyeliner application. Anyway, this is a very, very long video. I hope you didn't fall asleep. I see you next year, actually this year, or at the end of this year, for my makeup empties video, for the yearly one. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have questions, leave them down in the comment section. I see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye bye.